This presentation of certificates of service and souvenirs is premised on what we felt was our obligation as the leadership to honor the contribution of our chancellors, vice chancellors, and deputy vice chancellors who served this institution diligently, and I must add, continue to serve it either directly or indirectly through various undertakings. Today's celebration is also meant to bring to remembrance the contributions of those who selflessly served Makerere but have since completed this earthly race. It's our humble gesture as the current leadership of this great institution to demonstrate that we remember and sincerely appreciate their respective contributions and influence long after their departure. Our recently concluded year-long centennial celebrations were full of commemorations of exemplary service. As we listened to the accounts by members of families and keynote speakers, we were challenged by the selflessness, some even to the point of death, with which our past leaders served Makerere. And so as we embark on our second century at Makerere University, our ambitions and plans for this institution must continue to reflect the selflessness and diligent service that characterized its founding. As rightly stated by our strategic plan for 2020-2030, our efforts should be aimed at consolidating Makerere's position as the global knowledge hub at the heart of Africa. And like Honorable Rukikaire has mentioned or challenged us, what are we consolidating as Makerere University? I just want to pick out a few what I've called footprints that have remained with us, that were set by our former leaders, just highlighting a few of each, not everybody, but just highlighting a few. And you'll see the journey that Makerere has walked, and those will form the areas that we need to consolidate as a university. Now, during Mr. Frank Kalimzo's brief tenure of 1970 to 72, the disciplines of commerce, forestry, law, and technology were added to those already offered. Veterinary medicine, too, was introduced at Makerere University, while music, dance, and drama became diploma subjects. The main library and Albert Cook Medical Library were also extended in 1972. So music, drama, and the film arts, your legacy began with the reign of Mr. Frank Kalimzo as the Vice Chancellor. Professor Azafia Wandera's first term, 1973 to 75, was at the height of the economic war in Uganda, characterized by political abductions and mass departure of foreign and senior Uganda academic staff. The above notwithstanding, the administration successfully withstood incessant demands to award its prestigious qualifications. Professor Joseph Lutwama's term, 1975 to 77, was the same. The incessant demands for the award of Makerere's prestigious qualifications only intensified. His term, too, was short-lived. Professor William Senteza Kajubi's first term, 1977 to 79, coincided with heightened efforts and the eventual capture of power by the Uganda National Liberation Front. Professor Waike Lule's appointment as President of Uganda, its 68th day duration, and the resultant angry protests by our students effectively ended his term. He was a fearless defender of his students. Professor Sente Zakajuli's departure ushered in Professor Wandera's second term, 1979 to 86, characterized by re-establishing good working relations between government and the development partners. As such, university regulations governing admissions, awards, and staff appointments were enforced. The Australian government supported staff development by offering the first 20 fellowships for teaching assistants to take master's and doctoral programs, degrees. Furthermore, Canadian and Australian universities each offered 20 tons of up-to-date books to the university library. The university rebuilt its image through increased visibility at international conferences of the Association of Commonwealth and African University. Professor George Chiria's term, and I want to honor him especially today because he was my Vice Chancellor when I was at the university. 1986 to 90 was characterized by continued implementation of staff development initiatives and participation in government recovery programs. For example, USAID's Manpower for Agricultural Development project, implemented by Ohio State University, aimed to stimulate farmers' agricultural production. It ran from 26th of August 1983 to 26th August 1993. The project ran for that period. The project rehabilitated infrastructure on and off campus, trained staff at master's and doctoral levels, rejuvenated research, and forged strong ties between agricultural research and extension services. You can see how during different reigns, various stones were being laid in this foundation called Makerere University. The period from 1990 to 93 marked Professor William Sente Zakajuli's return as Vice Chancellor, and with it, several measures to adapt to the structural adjustment programs that resulted in cutting back of government support to the university. Revenue-generating initiatives, mainly self-sponsorship, were introduced to help bridge the funding gap. Professor John Sebufu's term, 1993 to 2004, was characterized by increased academic programs and student population from 5,000 to 14,000. Under his leadership, the university undertook several infrastructural projects for academic and administrative purposes and established several income-generating initiatives. Professor Livingstone Lugobi's term, 2004 and to 2009, continued from where Professor Sebufu had stopped by establishing mechanisms to mobilize resources to supplement funding, including reaching out to alumni. He also established several collaborations with international universities and organizations in various areas. He was a founder member of the Makerere University Private Sector Forum to help bridge the divide between the academia and the public and private sectors. Infrastructure such as the largest facility dedicated to computer science in sub-Saharan Africa was commissioned in his term. Thank you, sir. Now, Professor Barnabas Nawangwe's term is still ongoing with numerous developments underway, and as such, you'll agree with me that it's still too early to take stock of the impact of his leadership. That notwithstanding, Makerere's second century allows us to consolidate all the achievements mentioned above, and in anticipation of how emerging technology breakthroughs are likely to disrupt various sectors, the current council remains committed to ensuring that the appropriate policy environment is in place to leverage our past gains to build a better future for this institution and Uganda as a whole. Now, I have walked through the last so many years just to show you that there was a lot of capacity building in the years past. Our leaders endeavored to train us, to build us up as a university. And like any child, you come to a stage in your life where your parents have given you everything that they need to give you. You're now ready to step out and start impacting the world. Makerere, we have had 100 years of being fed and nurtured and empowered and supported. The next 100 years must be years of coming out of the university and impacting society. Makerere must be relevant to our nation, to the nations around us, and to Africa. And so that's where we're headed. That's where we're working towards. We as council are committed to making sure that together with our researchers, together with the staff who diligently serve to train and educate our young people, that we will be relevant. We commit to being relevant to our society and to the nations around us. I thank you all for your kind attention and sincerely appreciate your sparing time to join us this morning. To our leaders, once a leader, always a leader. Your legacy will forever be imprinted in the foundation and life of Makerere University. It will always live on. And so we thank you, we bless you, and we honor you. We celebrate you with this day. Thank you so much for coming, and God richly bless you.
Output to meet perceived targets. There is much need to reflect and action among scholars, and Makerere University will do well to take the lead in finding workable solutions in the coming 2 or 3 decades. Now, before I finish what I'm about to do, I want to make a bold proposal. I propose that Makerere, as the oldest institution in East Africa, spearheads the search for and propose solutions to these problems by establishing a center to deal with these issues in Sub-Saharan Africa, covering economic integration, population and demography, environment, and related technical training to support these efforts. We should conduct related technical training to support these efforts. We should conduct a campaign supported by the East African leaders among all the countries in Sub-Saharan Africa to support such a center at Makerere University. I am sure that such a center would be able to attract global support and financing because its impact and ramifications would be global. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for listening to me